Today is Saturday, March 9th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 46, Week 2.
Okay, this is like our 20th attempt to get that recorded correctly. It's one of those days, evidently. That was odd. If in doubt, reboot. I guess that's just where you always are with a...
It worked.
with a computer. So, all right. So we're squared away. We're finally recording. How many super fans checked in for the listener feedback show?
19.
19. I was thinking it was going to be light. It was awesome. We had some people get in early, but I was like, that number's a little low. I think we might be light. It must be the...
Yeah, but you say that every week.
The disparity between the extra half hour and that's causing people, it's like, well, if I can't say something nice, I'm not going to say anything at all. But then they just kept trickling in all morning long. I thought maybe people weren't enjoying, because there's a variety
Finish your sentences.
There's a variety of responses to the 2-hour episode, the second 2-hour episode. So some people liked it, some people didn't, some people are in between, and all that. And I thought, well, maybe that's why we weren't getting so much. But then it just trickled in all morning long to where we were more than...
like usual.
More than double.
Yeah, every week. Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever.
It's true.
We're past our technical difficulties. We got feedback from 19 superfans about this last episode, episode 2, week 2 of Survivor season 46. Do we need to say anything else before we get started?
We do not.
Okay, let's kick it off with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's Pete from Boston calling here. Womp, womp, womp for Jess. But even though the outcome might have been anticlimactic, a little something, I don't think it was predictable. And again, that purple team, looking like the purple team from season 44, I'm going to let out a great big woo! Man, oh man. First, Jelinski, which I think he would have offered a ton with trying to make that arch there with his size for the physical part. You knew that was going to happen. And they were still in it, that purple team. But physically, who do they have besides Q? They really don't have anybody that could do it now. Banu's useless. He's a panic snapper. Tiffany, I like Tiffany. She gave all she had. And Kenzie's a great strategist, but she's not the biggest woman, and they had to let Jess go. I think Tiffany's right. They should have gotten rid of Jess last week, but she had to go today. Cece, you must agree. She didn't offer anything to the game, no strategy whatsoever, and how could you trust her? I love that fake idol thing, looking in the wrong spot, handing her the idol, Q giving it to her. I'm glad she went home, but I don't know if this purple team can win now. Is it going to be like GM, Carson, and Carolyn? Looks like it. Because I don't know, that orange team is in first, and they're stacked. Hoping in a way they would lose, because Randon's on that team, right? Because I want to see Randon do that beware advantage or idol there, and see how it would work with him and Venus, because I did not see that coming. Those are obviously the two on the outs there, because I don't know, Tevin, I love Tevin and Soda, but I think they better watch out when push comes to shove. Although I still think Liz, I wouldn't be surprised if she's still the first one voted out. I'm still annoyed with her. And now my homeboy, Charlie's Angels, him and Maria, I was hoping they would come together, and now they're in a great spot. thought. They can either stick with the two Angel girls, but you're probably hoping Joanne and Stacy, they stay with Jem and Mariah, or they're going to go with the two guys that are on the outs, Tim and the singer Ben. That could be interesting if Green loses as well. But I don't know. Purple's got a big hill to climb, though. I honestly feel a little sorry for Q. Kenzie, she's been doing great with the strategy, but you could see Q seeing through it there. Those two with Tiffany are quite an alliance, though. I like to see them make the merge. We'll see how it lasts. And I got to see now what Jess says in her interviews now, if that was her strategy, and how much was she a fan of the game. I think she was a recruit. See, I love hearing Dalton Ross's great questions there, and I got to see if there's any extra clips as well in the Probes podcast. All right, guys, this was still a very good 2-hour episode, guys. Take care. Woo.
Whoa. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too good about where my girl sits.
Jim, I was
Yeah.
looking the Survivor subreddit. There's someone who's always keeping track of how much confessional time, and they publish an updated table each week. She's had less than a minute. She's had the least amount. She's not full purple, but she's she's like a dim purple right now. So it's less than a minute of total confessional time. Again, you being under the radar. If she makes it to the merge, it ends up being a plus because sometimes they feature the stories of the people who are either going to be the significant players and the ones that are on their way out.
Well, you know, I was thinking, too, about Maria, and she's got an extra vote. So
Her and Tevin, yeah.
they don't seem to be targeting her, though. They want to use the extra vote.
They
but
don't have to target anyone right now.
why not? Well, no, but
Yeah.
if they lost,
Yes.
I mean, come on, they could target her. But
It's as good a
she's
reason
got
as
2 votes, so
as
might not
any.
be that easy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Her and Tevin and whoever
Just let her
they're
use it.
they're aligned with have an advantage because they don't need 4, at least for the first vote. They only need to have an alliance of 3, and that extra vote will carry the majority for them in that case. That's a lot of power.
True.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to a couple things that Pete referenced. Jelinski tweeted out 7-foot wingspan. He's like 6'4", but fingertip to fingertip, 7 feet. He definitely could have provided some arch support.
Okay, he could have,
Yeah.
but would he have with his need to quit all the time? And those were really heavy. Those people, even the big guys, were sweating and you could tell they were so heavy and hard. I don't know that he would have bothered.
Well, I think his physical attributes would have been able to make the most of that in the middle of that arch where it was needed the most.
I'm not convinced he would have, though.
The other side of that, though, is that it takes a tribe to do those arches, and they're not a tribe. They are completely. It takes a functional, coordinated effort. And like Banu pointed out, was it Banu or Q pointed out, they're not planning, and Jess reinforced that in their exit interviews. Although to me, she came across as being all over the place, and her mindset was to quit. And she essentially said if Probst hadn't berated them not to be quitters, she would have quit. And so she, unbeknownst to the others, and not that you could count on it, she didn't, she said at least, there's lots of revisionist history that happens in exit interviews because you try to spin it to your benefit. But she said that she was praying that the idol was a fake, that she didn't want to be out there any longer, that she had gone over 200 hours without sleep, which I just don't believe. And when she started off every interview pitching her merch, the 2 t-shirts that she was selling.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. I don't think she was ever, even fully rested, she was ever going to be a good Survivor player. She came across as scatterbrained even in those interviews, those exit interviews.
Okay, enough said about Jess.
Yeah, so that's where we are there. It won't be enough said. We will return to the Jess topic multiple times in the feedback show. But that was interesting from that perspective. Yeah, there's some extra clips. We'll talk some more about those as we go through. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanna, Stacey, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I hope that everyone enjoyed the second 2-hour episode. For me, it felt maybe not quite as tight as the season premiere. I thought it felt a little bit stretched out. Maybe it could have used a separate reward and immunity challenge, but overall I still enjoyed it. And we got a little bit more insight into some of the characters this season, for better or for worse. And with Banu, it's definitely for the worse. And I have to say, if you were heavily invested in Banu, you're probably selling all your stock now because he's not long in this game. And he's kind of a wild man and not really in a good way. You know, you can be emotional and be empathetic and passionate without being irate, impulsive, angry, irrational. And I don't think Bono is going to go far in this game. It really made me cringe the way they yelled at Jess. I thought he went a little bit far, and I don't really like watching him play, and I'm excited to see him go home. And I think next tribal council that he's at, that's probably going to happen. I don't know if anyone else watched Jess this week with her interview with Gordon Holmes, but it was a little bit strange. She got asked a question about the idol, and then she mentioned that before tribal council, we would get asked to put on a show and act like we thought we were going home. And then she kind of quickly changed the subject, and to me it seemed like a Freudian slip. In the comment section for the video, she got asked to explain what she meant, and she said that, oh, it's just my tribe mates would ask us to put on a show and make others feel safe, but it doesn't really make the sense in the context and the way that she said it. And the way that she said it was definitely coming from the producers, I feel like, which I guess they have to tell a story and they have to have it make sense, but anyway, I thought that was kind of strange. For next week, it seems like it's a swim challenge for immunity. And I think that Yanu has lost enough of their liabilities to actually have a good chance at winning. And I think that Nami actually has some weaknesses in their tribe, and I have them losing. I don't think that Liz, Soda, or even Venus are challenge beasts by any stretch. So with them losing, I have the billionaire business tycoon Liz going home. And that's my prediction for now. But I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, she mentioned that about, and I understood it to be what she said in the comment too, because she mentioned that in other interviews, the comment about trying to, fake somebody out before tribal council. So again, she was kind of all over the place with her exit interviews. I'm with you though. I think there's actually a chance that Yanu 4 could pull off a win this week, even as dysfunctional as they are, given that water challenge and all that. The 4 is about the right place to gel and make something happen.
Well, but they don't in all of the areas have to work as a team, coordinating as a team. Some of the stuff that they do is like swimming in the water, climbing up, jumping off, but they do that individually. It looked like going over those rollers. Some of them needed to help others. But then I think the end is throwing those bags that they dig up. So it's kind of like, yes, they have to work as a team, but that they can, they don't have to coordinate anything together.
Right. I think the big question is going to be how that ends. It's got they seem to be steering away from the extreme puzzles at the end right now. So if it's throw a sandbag up there and have it land on a little platform. If they make everyone in the tribe do it, then it could get a little more iffy. But if they've got one person who's really good at it and they can just clean it off that way, they got an even better chance of finishing. All right, thanks, Robert. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. Hello, Survivor fans. What a way to start out this new season with 2 hours last week and another this week. I missed the opportunity to send in feedback from the premiere episode, but here are some brief thoughts I had from it. At the marooning, right when the tribe got announced, I totally got Marianne vibes from Soda, and I do think it was rude for her to rip the immunity idol from Venus's hands when Jeff gave it to her for the tribe. The sweat and savvy challenge... The sweat and savvy challenges were nothing really new or stood out to me. I mean, come on, Jelinski quitting the challenge and throwing the hourglass by giving up was not a great first impression, and I, for one, don't see how he wouldn't have been first out. Not to mention he folded when it came to the journey and having to lie about what tile he got. Tiffany has been impressing me a little bit from the Beware Advantage find, and I kind of like the new twist on that by needing to return for the key when you lose the challenge to gain access to the idol. Well, yeah, and you don't actually get the key, you get another clue that you've still got to go.
Clue to the key.
Yeah, from that perspective. Speaking of challenges, I really like the gecko and how you had to maneuver it through the obstacle course before having to solve the survivor puzzle. As for this week's episode, Venus does seem to have been struggling to connect to her tribe, but it's hard to see if they were trying to talk to her. It seemed like they were not. I do like Ben quite a bit from both episodes. They seem to have a lot of fun out there, and the music song battle between Ben and Charlie was not necessary, but a fun interaction to see, and I don't know if I would have been able to name specific songs from only one artist. I'm curious to see what Brandyn does with his Beware advantage. The interaction at the immunity challenge between Nami, Jeff, and the tribes was different. I liked how Nami created a small buff for the idol and how Jeff liked it but then cut it off. Even though I did enjoy the tribe interactions, I do believe there was some bullying going on in Jelinski's absence when it comes to why he was voted out last time. At Tribal Council and the challenge, Jess seems to have been having a difficult time, and I kind of see her getting voted out this time. I feel like Banu made a big mistake at Tribal and stated everything that was going on, and I'm a bit surprised that he didn't get any votes. If they do return to Tribal next week, I do think Banu may be in some trouble. All in all, I really like this cast of characters and do feel like this season will be a fun one throughout, and can't wait to see what may happen next. Thanks, Jack. I think it was easy to vote Jess out, given that she had to have been giving off those quitter vibes to them. Even with all of Banu's screw-ups, you don't want a quitter around like that. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with a grand total score of 7 in the side challenge on this beautiful 7th day of March, which just happens to be my 57th birthday. So
Happy
by
birthday.
my math, I am several years deep into my middle age. Great episode last night. I really enjoyed all of it. It was a little long for me at 2 hours because I got very sleepy and actually fell asleep before I saw who got voted out at Tribal Council, but I caught up this morning, and it made me so sad to see that Jess left. I really thought that she was going to be this season's Emily and kind of have a difficult, rough start and then have a redemption arc. I had this whole thing in my head, and then maybe be first on jury, but I guess it was not to be. She really never found her footing, and I actually felt bad watching it back on TV. You know who else I felt bad for actually was Venus. She's so pretty. Nobody likes her, and it's just very, very hard to watch. I love Tiffany. What a strong woman. I love Soda. I'm perplexed by Liz. Why does she keep telling everybody how much money she has? That's not going to get anybody's vote. I love Kenzie's beautiful blue eyes. Jem, my USB. I'm hoping that she gets a stronger edit as we go. I really loved Charlie and Ben and their rock battle. I don't think I could ever name 106 songs of any band I love, probably even the Grateful Dead. It would be pretty hard. My favorite part, though, was the smack talking right before the challenge when Soda was like, how you like your food? I thought it was going to be an absolute rumble, like Jets and Sharks, and they were going to start throwing punches at each other. I've never seen such aggression on Survivor, and I liked it. Usually everyone's so nice to each other, but this was straight up aggression. And Stacey, you're right. What if they mix up the tribes and they've been smack talking each other? How's that going to work out? I have no idea. I was worried I was going to end up with a 6-point week when Banu had a complete meltdown at Tribal Council. That guy's got to get himself together. I think if his tribe goes back, he's going to be the next one voted out. I'm going to try very hard to make good picks and work my way out of the basement slowly. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And I'm having a great birthday. Bye.
Happy belated birthday, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. This episode was so interesting, and Bhanu is a total train wreck and he has no business being in Survivor. I don't think he has any idea how the game is played, and it just made me so cross when he invoked Gandhiji's name and he talked about the hunger strike. Well, he should know that Gandhiji also kept the Maun Vrat, which is translated into the vow of silence, and that's what Bhanu needs to keep a vow of silence when he's in the tribal council. The thing that I really liked about that little bit of his was chanting the Hindu prayer, which I saw on television only the second time because the it was in the opening sequence of Battlestar Galactica. They had the operatic version of that prayer, and the prayer, almost all prayers in Hinduism end with Om Shanti Shanti, which means invoking peace. So that's what he was doing. I just can't stand. I don't know what to say about Banu. Now, I was really disappointed that Jess went. I know she didn't play that well, but when the challenge finished, you could see all the bruises and the cuts, and you could see that she had been trying hard, including that one tall, very muscular person kept telling a much shorter person to hold the pieces over her head while he picked up pieces on the floor and looked at the puzzle. So, even the team is to blame, and it was really not nice to put all the blame on her. And I had to really laugh at Tiffany crying over Jess doing nothing but walk around during the challenge, because I was fairly certain Kenzie was doing the exact same thing. And I did rewind and watch, and I was right. Now, the fake idol play isn't mean-spirited, but the way they were all running around laughing and ranting about how stupid and incompetent Jess is was absolutely mean-spirited. So that's my little rant on the whole thing, because I did listen to Jess's exit interviews, and she seemed like a very nice person, and I could really understand when she said that even somebody gave her $1 million, she wouldn't go back and play, because I did think that she was treated a bit shabbily by her tribe. I think Bhanu's going next. I don't think he's going to survive. Either he's going to quit or he's going to go. And that's it. So that's all I have to say. And on that note, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Rashmi. Next up, we got an email from Brandyn in Indiana.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. I'm sending my feedback in text format after I came down with some illness on Thursday, and now today, on Saturday, my voice is garbage and useless.
Uh-oh.
So anyways, episode 2, I have heard a lot of talk on various subreddits and podcasts about show length, and I truly don't understand CBS's decision to ask for a second 2-hour episode, knowing that the producers shot it not even expecting 90-minute episodes. While I did enjoy a lot of this week's episode, I can see where there was excess fat that could easily be trimmed. However, I absolutely loved the song title showdown between Ben and Charlie. It was fun to watch and hear the other players say how funny it was to them that they also were finding it entertaining. I feel like the show often chooses not to show us moments of the tribes entertaining themselves. I wonder if producers feel like it's a failing on their part that players in a game would have downtime to play little games they come up with on their own. Anyways, similar to coconut bowling and other secret scenes of the past, I want more of this. I was bummed to hear how bad Jess felt about her experience, but I don't blame her at all. While I didn't do JSFL this year, currently after 2 episodes, my top 3 players I'm cheering for to win are Maria, Tevin, and Tiffany, hoping for, as Jeff calls it, a delicious and vicious betrayal from Tiffany to Kenzie to make her way to the end. Can't wait to hear what others thought about this week on the podcast. Hope you two are well.
Yeah, hope you're getting better, Brandyn. So you picked Maria, extra vote, Tevin, extra vote, Tiffany, hidden immunity idol. Yeah, they are standouts from that perspective. Next up, we got a call from Brandyn.
Hey, what's up, Survivor fans and Joanne and Stacy? This is Brandyn from Cleveland. But actually, I think I'm just going to start saying Brandyn from Northeast Ohio, because I've moved several places around this area. Currently, I'm in the Akron area now. So I'm just going to start saying Brandyn from Northeast Ohio, and that'll basically cover all bases. But anyway, it's so good to be back trying to give some feedback this season. I told Jeremiah that I would try to keep up this year after, I don't know, it was some conversation we had on Facebook based on something. But I said I'm going to try to get back in with the side challenge and everything. It'll be hit or miss because I'm not able to necessarily watch all the shows live as they air. Sometimes it'll be as far as Monday or Tuesday of the next week before I even get to it. But I was able to watch this second episode on time. So I'm really liking the season so far. A lot of good characters. Liz, my USB, is not doing so good. I promise. I thought that her interview and her Mike Bloom sit down felt a lot better than what she's performing on the TV show right now. So I might have to start looking for a USB 10 quick. I'm just hoping she can survive towards the merge. That tribe seems like they're doing fairly well, but who knows? She could be gone next week. We'll see. Not going to give up hope just yet. And I also love the whole Brandyn and Venus dynamic from that tribe now, to see the two people at the bottom kind of link up and see if they can end up doing something. So I think Yanu is so bad that might buy him time, but who knows what's going to happen, especially if a swap occurs or not. I haven't been looking at previews too much, so you guys might be clued into something that I'm not. But yeah, that Yanu tribe is a hot mess. But I am glad that I had Jess going home this week. I had her going home last week, too. I'm really liking this season. I really like the Green Tribe. They're very much impressing me. And I think that is that it? Mariah? Yeah, I think she's kind of cute, actually. But I like that tribe. So, and I like the whole little Taylor Swift versus Metallica thing that they did, too. Anyway, I hope that you call in and say what's up every now and again. We'll see what happens. So I'm actually working wrestling championship at the university that I'm at. So I got to get back into work. But you guys take care. Peace.
Awesome. Great to hear from you again, Brandyn. Due to that rule change, Liz is going to have to compete in the next challenge. So
explain the rule change.
Since she sat out in the week 2 challenge, Probe said that the back-to-back rule is going to extend between episodes now. So you can't sit out back-to-back challenges that span episodes. Used to, that was within the cycle of the episode itself.
Yeah.
So, like from a reward to an immunity challenge when they start doing 2 challenges. But now that's just challenge to challenge. You can't sit out. So
that will make a difference.
Yeah, we will see her in whatever this water challenge ends up being. Thanks, Brandyn. So good to hear from you again. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. It's literally noon Pacific time right now. So I hope that I'm getting this in time. I listened to your recap. It was great. It's kind of, to me, like, I don't know, not the best episode because they tried so hard to make it look like there was any other possible outcome. And I just thought, I think it just has to be Jess. It has to be. So I'm not so exciting. Okay, I'm over the 2-hour episodes, okay? I mean, I made complaints at the office, so to speak, about the 90-minute episodes, but 2 hours and 1 challenge, you guys. That's just so much sitting around and talking. And listen, I'm all about the social dynamic. I'm all about the sitting around talking, but that's a lot of sitting around talking. And so, I don't know, I'm just so used to the pace of the show when they talk, they challenge, they talk, they challenge. Like, there's kind of like rhythm, like a pattern, you know what I mean? Like a cadence, you might say. So I just was watching that and I was like, how is it like 45 minutes in and they haven't said a single word about a challenge? How? And then they did. And then it was a good challenge, but it was just not enough. And the challenges aren't even my favorite part. The balance was off. I think that's what it was. It's imbalanced. So there's some really childish hijinks going on, I think, as far as personalities, as far as tantrums and stuff coming up. That's kind of interesting. Maybe just because we're seeing more of these people, it's coming out a little bit more. Bonnet was short fuse on that guy, and I think it would have been okay if they got rid of him. But it was good, though. I would like to propose a moratorium on Jess ever uttering the phrase, let's get it on, ever again. It's like, forget, come on in, guys. Let's get it on out of the Survivor Con. It's just annoying, and I think that there's so many different ways he could kind of get things kicked off that are just more fitting and not as grating. So that's what I got to say. Hope everyone has a good weekend. We have a birthday party tomorrow for our little girl, turning 9. So happy birthday, Adelaide. And I think we're going to go swimming today indoor because it's freezing outside. It's practically still winter. So everyone, have a good weekend. Bye.
Happy birthday, Adelaide.
Wow.
What?
9 already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you, Drew, for the pictures on your Christmas card.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting to see how much they've all grown.
Yeah, we love seeing that. Keep it on our refrigerator.
Yeah.
Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland. Hello, Survivor fans. Another fun week. I've seen some negative reactions to the 2-hour episodes, but other than having trouble staying up that late after a long work day, I enjoy them. I'm with you, Mary. It's fun to see the tribes hanging out and seeing what they do with their downtime, and it's helpful to get more of a glimpse into the relationships and personalities so that when tribal council comes, I have a better idea of what led to the voting decisions. That's part of what I felt has been missing in the new era. Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. As always, close but no cigar with my vote out point. I had Jess going home last week and felt that was too obvious a choice for this week, so changed it to Brandyn. Oh well, I have Banu going home this week, but might change that after hearing our star JSFL players' feedback this week. I'm liking what I'm seeing on Sega. Maria and Charlie seem to be in a good place, in a power position, right in the middle of two groups. Ben continues to be more likable than I was expecting, and I loved his emotion at getting fire. I agree with Stacy that I don't need to see the sob stories and inwardly groan when I do see them. Yanu is a mess, and I can't quite figure out why they can't seem to work together well at the challenges when individually they seem like strong players. I love hearing Q speak, and he is a very astute player. I hope he lasts a long time. I agree with Joanne. Tiffany and Kinsey did a good job of feeling their emotions and letting them out privately, then putting their game faces back on. In contrast to Banu, who just let it all out and gave the impression of being very erratic. That challenge was painful and grueling to watch. It just seemed to go on forever, and the frustration was palpable. I felt for Jess not having slept and not being very tall. Even the tallest and physically strongest players were struggling mightily in trying to hold those heavy blocks above their head for so long. Still not feeling Venus or Brandyn. Not sure if their partnership is going to go anywhere, but it'll be interesting to see. Enjoying Hunter, Tevin, and Soda. Liz is making no sense to me. Not sure what her strategy is in talking about how amazing and rich she is, or if she even has a strategy, but things don't look promising for her. Looking forward to hearing everyone else's thoughts. Take care, everyone. Good job, Mary. Yet Liz seems to basically be out there marketing herself. She's just trying to get more business saying this over, taking the risk of saying that over and over again.
Oh, didn't you say that Mo tweeted something about
she's getting all these
people
requests?
People are confusing her
with Liz.
Liz.
She's getting requests for help. I think they're probably doing it to be funny, but she said, this has just got to stop. And it was another request she had received for help with an email marketing plan. Oh, that was good.
Because Liz said she could do that. She could teach you.
Yeah. That's yep, that's funny. You can tell Mo's got a good sense of humor.
Not to Mo.
Thanks, Mary. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. And all I can think of is Yanu. I've watched Survivor twice now before I sent this in. And the only good thing I can say about watching this team the first time was I had the faintest possible hope that they might pull off a win somehow. But right from the beginning, they were a team that was imploding. And they kicked off their tallest, strong player and kept the smallest, least physical player. So then when they come to this challenge where the tall player would have been perfect, put right in the middle of the whole of the blocks, it was too late. So again, I understand why they did what they did, but I still feel that they should have kept the legend and then got rid of him second. But as long as they're playing this way, they're going to keep losing. And we go from Yanu to Banu. Joanne, when you were reading the USBs and the number of people that pick them, even though I'm not playing in the official game, but we're playing it at home, I picked Banu. And you said, I think there were about 2 people that picked him. And I now see why, and I keep thinking, why did they do it? I really thought if Tevin originally was going to go with Tevin, but I don't think he's going to make it to the end either. And 1,000 people are playing for Hunter, so he was another one that I thought could make it. But I picked Banu, and all I kept thinking all night watching it was, But Banu, shut up. Stop talking. He's talking about Gandhi. He's putting his hand out and making a fist and talking about that. And then at the tribal council, he's doing exactly what the tribe is telling him not to do. He runs to every single person. Kinsey, what shall I do? Q, are we okay? Tiffany, what's the plan? I just kept thinking, oh, please calm down. I felt sorry for him when he said, I feel like a fool. But honestly, the only way he's going to stay is if this team finally wins something. And I really feel they're not going to lose the next episode. I hope. I hate to see a team implode right from the beginning. If they do go to tribal council again, I can't believe that they'd keep Banu. So then after that, I expect a shuffle, and maybe those three will go farther into the game because they've been through fire from the beginning. We will see, but right now I'm thinking, what the heck did I do in picking Banu? Talk to you next week.
That's going to be great. Banu's going to somehow hang on to the merge, and now David's going to be like, do I keep him, or should I keep him? Or
That's so cute, David. He seems to do that every season.
He has a knack for it.
Oh, no. Of course, we all do that, David.
Yeah.
Looking at him going,
Well, we're doing it with Jim right now. So
Yeah.
like,
Well,
she's invisible.
At least she's not acting like Banu does.
Right. She's not imploding.
That is different.
Not self-destructing.
But I've had those that did that too, and I was like, wow, I don't know what I saw in that, their video or whatever. But sometimes you just don't see the full person. I also think Tevin may not make it to the end because I think this cheery person is not going to last. I think he's going to get grumpy and tired, and he's not going to be able to, and people are used to that personality from him, but I don't think he can maintain it the whole season.
Unlike the Yanu tribe, the Nami tribe hasn't been tested yet.
True.
And so you don't get to really see how someone's going to behave until they get tested.
And I think there's a lot that could come up.
Yeah. He's got an extra vote, thanks to Jelensky, so He's got power even if he does get tested.
True.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they fare when the pressure really gets applied. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I do have some thoughts on this episode. While I didn't like it as much as the premiere, we had some unnecessary stuff like the backstories and stuff like that. It's not that I don't want to know about these people. I do, but I want to see them through the context of Survivor, see them play. I really don't need to hear their backstory and all their trauma and stuff like that. If it pops up naturally, cool. If not, it feels so forced how they do it in the new era. In previous Survivor seasons, that stuff would just come up and it'd be okay, yeah, sure. But with this, it feels like you're watching a different show. It feels like you're watching The Voice or America's Got Talent or something. And this next contestant, here's 15 minutes of their backstory. Now, watch them sing. And it just doesn't fit well with Survivor. So it felt like the two that we got in this episode didn't really need it. There was also just a lot of crying, but I feel like the only crying that was warranted was Tiffany. But everybody else, I'm like, yeah, suck it up. It's day 4. And then I'm seeing a lot of people say that, oh, this season feels mean-spirited and stuff like that. Oh, there's a lot of bullying going on, and I don't really see it. And I also think that's funny that people are saying that's a bad thing after losing their minds that Jeff Probst said he didn't want villains anymore. But now they're like, oh, Survivor's too mean. Okay, make up your minds, everybody. What do you want? I get that. The whole Venus stuff, I think a lot of that is her own fault. I think, like you guys pointed out in the recap show, I think she does like to be the center of attention, and when she's not, she loses it a little bit. But I also think, the Soda taking the tribe's idol out of her hand every time, that's a bit much. The fact that Soda just doesn't talk to her at all is a bit much. And the fact that she told her straight up, let's not talk today. That's a really bad strategy on Soda's part. It's so bad. But I also think that Venus is isolating herself. But I'm interested to see how that Brandyn-Venus relationship goes. On the Green Tribe, I love that Charlie-Mariah relationship, and also the song battle was hilarious. And now to the Purple Tribe. Oh, they're a mess. And I hated the fake idol plan. I thought it was so unnecessary. They didn't have to do Jess dirty like that, but I don't think it was mean-spirited. Kenzie, Tiffany, and Q are very strategic players, and they're cutthroat players. And that's what I like to see from Survivor players. I think they're doing really well, and I think they did great this episode. I don't love the decision to get Jess out because I wanted Banu to go. Through the course of this episode, he really annoyed me, and I think it's really ironic that somebody wearing a Be Kind shirt is yelling at somebody like he did to Jess in the immunity challenge, when he's not that much of an asset either. Especially when he can't handle stress and just blabbers off at tribal council. That's not a good alliance member. And I know that 3 is tighter than they are with Banu, so they'll vote him off before one of their own, most likely. But at the same time, you could do that with Jess too, so why not just get him out now? Because he's clearly a liability to you guys. So I don't really get that. But, yeah, other than that, I did enjoy the episode. I am sad that Jess went. I did get full points, so I'll take that. But, yeah, that's all I got. I'm excited to see what happens next week. I will see you all next time.
Excellent. Thanks, Parker. Great points. Next up, we got an email from Thomas in Toronto, Canada.
Well, this episode was a bit better, but still too long in spots. I'm not really sure why we needed to have 2 people listing Taylor Swift and Metallica songs. I get that they are fans of them, but it added nothing to the episode. Jess going home seemed like it was going to happen eventually, so how much can be said about it? I think she might have been a good competitor, but she started playing too late in the start of the game to be a threat. Well, next week we're back to shorter episodes, so hopefully there won't be too much time wasted on unnecessary conversations. All right, thanks, Thomas. Up next, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne, Stacey, and all Survivor fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. I thought this week's episode was another great episode. I think the 90 minutes are really helping us get a lot of good information. We're seeing some happy times, seeing some not so happy times, but we're getting great content nevertheless. And I know I've seen some of the fans so far in the last couple of weeks disagree, but I have to be one of those ones that say we need more of these 90 minutes. We saw what we saw in season 45 and how much we were able to ascertain from the game and how much clearer that a winner is to us once we have all that information. Do we not remember the early days of the 40s where that information wasn't given to us, and we were so disappointed to see when what we thought was a purple edit? I thought 45 was an advent, if you will, of that, not getting that edit and seeing the true winner. So I'm really happy about that. What I do think is that season 45 and 46 could be mirrored. I'm not getting the tribes off by heart just yet in terms of memory, but the purple tribe that this season is very similar to, I think it was the orange tribe of season 45, where we saw 3 people, 2 quitters, and then Sabaya get voted out. So we saw 3 eliminations in the first 3 weeks from the one tribe, and I feel like we could get that too. And it could emulate that same 45 as well. We've seen 2 poor players leave so far, and then we could, if they go back again to tribal, see that once again. And it could be another great player. It could be like a Tiffany, could be a Kenzie. So we just got to be careful, and I'm hoping that happens. I don't know why. I just think that this tribe is really trash. So they get what they get, and it's their fault, to be honest. They're not working as a team. I feel like there's a bit of individual play, and there's just a lot of chaos in this tribe too. So yeah, it is what it is. I felt really bad for Jess as well. I thought there was like the makings of a good player, but she just never found a footing. And it was sad to see what she had said on EW in the interviews, not having that sleep, knowing that it was a fake idol, but just wanting to go home and not playing her shot in the dark. So there was some sad things to see. And that Banu was being toyed around and some small bit of bullying apparently. So something that we might have not seen in tribal, and then just messing around with him a little bit. That's sad to hear too. But I was one of the people that unfortunately voted for him to go, and I got that wrong. So that's on me. And then finally with Venus, look, I understand her because her parents' background would be similar to mine, albeit my parents are also a minority religion. So they get persecuted and executed as well in that country. And people that come from that country have to work hard and understand, and then the kids of those people, they have to understand what their parents have sacrificed. And this is what my wife has said too, the same as you, so that their parents did that. So, you know, why is she acting like this? And this is the thing that I really want her to showcase, is that you can use that pain that your parents have gone through and not act like how you're acting. So I'm hoping she finds a footing. Thanks for what you do. Cheers.
It would be interesting to see her find her footing and provide some challenging dynamics to the majority alliance in that tribe. That extra video this week where, because I was saying, I think in the recap, I don't know if it was in the recap or it was just us talking, but I was saying, well, she should go to them. Maybe try going one-on-one with them to make that connection that she's missing. And sure enough, she had done that.
She was doing that, yeah.
Yeah, so she did that with Tevin. But then he said something and she became defensive, and then they didn't end up making any progress.
Well, and she said something wrong, but she didn't catch that she said it wrong.
Right.
And but she was trying, but she gets that defensiveness is what I see it as. And she seems to feel like if she does anything, they're all supposed to acknowledge what she did.
Yes.
And I thought, are you acknowledging everything they do when they do something around camp? Because she's like, well, and I did this and I carried it on my back, and nobody said anything.
In that,
or something,
exactly.
Like
Yeah. They were talking past each other by the
we're
end.
all working.
Yeah.
Yeah, they totally just were not connecting.
I thought Tevin had the upper hand on it, but then...
No, he did. He lost it.
He went third person.
I mean, he didn't lose control, but...
He lost the thread, yeah.
Yeah, he was like tuning out, zoning out, whatever. Kind of, a little bit.
Because I think it was really hard to have a conversation with her.
Yeah, especially when it was like, well, nobody's...
He triggered her.
Doing this for me, nobody's doing that for me. Nobody's acknowledging me, no. And I truly believed before the season start that she's very intelligent and that she had strategy coming in. I really thought she was going to do so much better, but I feel like...
So did she.
I don't know how old she is, but I don't feel like she's processed a lot of her emotions, and she doesn't necessarily, she's not self-aware enough.
But the entitlement
young.
issue is a trigger for her, and I don't think she's going to get past it.
But I don't think she sees it as that.
On some level,
I
she
see it
does.
as kind of
because she
why
went
are you
hyper
entitled
defensive
to that?
Yeah.
And if you're entitled to that, why isn't everyone entitled to that?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But
the flip side of all that is that it's in an extra video that probably 90% of the fans will never see.
Won't see, yeah.
And so that somehow signals to me that it's just not as important, even though I felt like I got a lot out of it, and I was thankful to have that extra clip
and that she
see
was
her making
doing
the effort.
that.
And she went to Tevin. I mean, if you're going to break the wall down, that would be you get him on your side, and you got it. So
she didn't get him on her side.
No, she didn't. They didn't end up connecting
they just
by
didn't.
the end. So she just vowed revenge, and that was it.
And he went back and made fun of her. So
yeah. Well, I don't know if we saw him do that.
Well, he was talking to Hunter about her.
That was at the beginning.
Saying something wrong.
Yeah, that was at the beginning.
Yeah, he didn't go back after they talked it out, but after she said something wrong, he corrected her, and she's like, "No, I said that." And Hunter was over working on the fire. He didn't engage, but then Tevin went back over and said she did say the wrong word, and he's like, "Yeah, she did."
Yeah, so she did make the effort, but it didn't go well. So she's gonna have to get her revenge another way, and it could come from a shuffle. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not. I don't think we're shuffling in the third episode, but I think it's a distinct possibility
you don't burn
in the
your
fourth.
Bridges.
Exactly.
Because she could click. She thinks she would do better on either one of the other tribes.
Yeah.
That she just doesn't fit in with this tribe, and that they're not giving her a chance or whatever. But I thought, if there's a switch and she does have anybody that she connects with and they've got people and she goes after you because you didn't work with her and you weren't kind or whatever her feelings are about it, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, you come back to her door asking for help, and it may not go well. Because she looks like she holds a grudge really well. At least that's what it comes across.
Good, but yeah.
All right, thanks, Shahin. You got us going on that Venus train of thought. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's KimJ from Nashville. It's been a while since I have recorded for the feedback show, but I have listened to every single episode in between the last time I recorded and now. So I'm enjoying the season like I enjoy all the seasons. First of all, I want to give kudos to Pete, who said Jess reminded him a lot of Christina Chaw from One World. And when he said that, I was like, really? And then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, there is so many similarities. Like they had that same kind of demeanor, like, oh, I don't know. And it's just very... Yeah, I thought that was just really spot on. So let me just bring up a thing right quick, and I wonder what you guys think of it as well. This whole, we're going to hold your Flint thing, we're not going to give them any rice to start the game. Is that really helping the show? Because I feel like we've had now a few seasons where you have people that are just very kind of spacey and checked out of the game. Obviously, last season we had some people quit. Is not having Flint, and they're not able to have fire, and they're not able to be warm at night, and they can't sleep, and not being able to have any kind of nourishment at all. Is that really helping us have a better game? And at this point, 6 seasons into this new era, I don't really think that it is. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of wish they would go back to just letting them have their Flint and giving them a little bit of something, just so that we get a little bit better gameplay out of some of these contestants who just don't do well under those type of conditions really, really early. Because I feel like it's a bit of a drag with some of these tribes when you have people that are like that. And I just wondered what you guys thought about that. The other thing that really kind of stood out to me in this episode was Brandon's decision to bring Venus in on his idol, which is an interesting decision. And like he said, it's a wild swing. For once, I would love to see somebody just keep it to themselves. Mm-hmm. Why do people always feel the need to use it as some kind of a bridge? This tribe may never go to tribal, so it may not matter, but it just puts Venus in such a position to be able to completely blow up his game. So I don't know that was the right call, but I guess we'll see. Allergy Girl, also known as Liz, super annoying. She definitely gets my award for most annoying person this season. And boy, that tribal council was so hilarious. I was almost in tears laughing so much with Banu just going completely bonkers. He cannot keep his mouth shut. And so if you are that tribe, because I think they're going to tribal again, right? I mean, if they don't go next episode, then the episode after that, do you keep Kinsey or do you keep Banu? Because I get that Q doesn't have a lot of trust in Kinsey, but boy, Banu just seems primed to just blow up your game big time when you get to the merge situation. I don't know. I'm doing terrible in JSFL. I'll talk about that on another feedback show. Thank you guys so much for the podcast, and I can't wait to hear what everybody else says.
Thanks, KimJ. Great to hear from you again.
I totally agree with you, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think they should, at the very least, go back to giving them the rice. I mean, they can get a little bit of protein scrounging around out in the ocean, but give them something to also boost their energy up a little bit. I mean, rice isn't much, and it's certainly not going to give them a whole heck of a lot of calories.
Right.
So, come on, give them something.
They used to say that if they were portioning appropriately to stretch it out, it would be about 500 calories a day was roughly what you could expect from the rice that they got initially.
I don't think there would be that many calories.
Not even 500?
I don't think so. Not for the
rice
small
and the
amounts that they got. No, I don't.
Yeah. In any case, I think if there was truly an environment where and they had people with the ability to provide food, then you could do it like this. And it would make it more important to have some even more fundamental fire-making skills, because you can overcome that. You don't need it. If you put the work in, you can come out. We've seen it in season after season where people showed up prepared. They saw a YouTube video on how to do the bamboo saw, and they're really good at it.
But some climates don't allow, there's too much moisture.
It can be hyper humid. You're absolutely right. And you've got to have dry bamboo for that to work. You're not going to pull it off with green bamboo.
Or if it rains every day.
Right. So you'd have to plan and work towards it. It takes more effort. But there's not enough food in these environments. They're so played out from being there over and over and over again. And because they don't have tools to feed themselves from the ocean to begin with, it doesn't work. So I guess I could come around to that. I think you can overcome some of it, and you can get past not not having food, but you have to know that you can do that.
But they expend so much energy in these challenges. I just think that's wrong for them not to have something to at least boost their energy before a challenge.
Here's the flip side. You could be giving them rice every day, and someone as incompetent as Jelinski and a quitter like Jess, whether it's the no sleep or the, hey, let's not talk strategy yet kind of thing, or she got miffed because Kenzie didn't return her crush and didn't want to align with her. She went up to Kenzie on the first day. Jess went to Kenzie and said, I'm so looking forward to playing the game with you, and wanted to have an alliance with Kenzie. And Kenzie kind of brushed her off, I guess, on day one. And so that didn't sit well with Jess.
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah, from that perspective. So you got players that are going to quit regardless of whether or not there's rice. That you're not necessarily going to get a different result. But I guess I'm with you on that regard. If the environment was there so they could feed themselves, but I think the places where they are a bit played out.
Well, the other thing is everybody has learned now that they don't always care if you're the provider. You still get voted out. So why are you wasting all of your energy that you could be using in challenges? And if you exhaust yourself, your mind doesn't work as good strategically. And so why bother?
Yeah, and providing takes time.
Or if you find something, just eat it yourself. You know, I think that's more. Everybody used to want to be the provider, but that didn't pay off so good for anybody.
It didn't even pay off for Rupert in the long run, or even that first short run. It didn't get him enough of what he needed. It was just fun for the fans.
Certainly not in the new era. It's just
Great to hear from you again, KimJ. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor super fans. This is Justin from Michigan. So this episode, I really appreciate 2-hour episodes in general, but this one I didn't think deserved the full 2 hours. I thought it was kind of a foregone conclusion that Jess was going if Yanu lost, and they were trying to show every little bit of why it might be someone else, why it might be Banu, why it might be Kenzie, why it could possibly even be Q. And I think that was just so far-fetched that it could be anybody but Jess. And it felt like they kind of dragged it on. In the future, I kind of hope keep that premiere as a 2-hour to get to know everybody, and then be a little more selective to use that second 2-hour slot if they keep this format, maybe towards the middle of the season or even towards the end of the season, or the merge episode would be a good 2-hour episode. That's true. Just kind of strategically use those 2-hour episodes, in my opinion. Now to the game. So the challenge, it made the first part of the challenge kind of pointless, the way that the ending equalized everything. I guess that's kind of the point, but it seemed like they could have just eliminated a lot of those beginning obstacles, but the ending was really the how do you work together to solve and build that arch was basically the challenge. I listened to Jess's exit interview with Rob Cesternino, and man, she seemed really bitter. She seemed like she just did not get along with anybody. She kind of played the victim in her exit interview, gave me kind of a negative impression of her. She said she didn't really enjoy her time. She would only go back if they paid her $10 billion. She even mentioned that Jeff emphasized that he hated quitters. That's the only reason she didn't quit, basically. I think she said she wished a tsunami would have came and taken her away or something ridiculous. So that kind of made me happy she was gone. Yep. I thought she handled it well in the episode. I thought she gracefully gave them their props for how they did it. I thought Q was smart. I mean, it seemed unnecessary, but why leave any chance that she would play her shot in the dark? Get rid of that uncertainty and try to make her think that she has an idol. I mean, he's playing hard. I respect his game. I'm glad he's my USB. I just hope they don't lose again, because then it's just going to be an uphill battle to get numbers. So if Nami loses, I think Venus or Liz are in trouble. If Siga loses, I think Mariah or Tim are in trouble. And then if Yanu loses, I think it's almost definitely Banu. So that's what I have, and looking forward to what everybody else has to say. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, well, that was a 2-hour episode of Survivor. Not sure why, but it took persistence to make it through to the end. Oh, nice. Right out of the gate. He's coming hard this time. My other observations, Banu definitely forgot to meditate just before tribal. Yeah, there was no peace there, was there? No Om Shanti there. Jess was unable to sleep, but she sleepwalked through the game. Indeed. She said she wasn't able to sleep even before it began. She was in a tent.
Ponderosa,
yeah, in a tent beside somebody that was coughing and kept her awake. That's how she was able to accrue 200 hours plus without sleeping. Banu learned that in fire making, where there's smoke, there might not be fire. Jess is from San Francisco. Is that why she played in a fog? The fog's a good descriptor, isn't it? Charlie is a big Taylor Swift fan. Is he a Kansas City Chiefs fan too? Probably is now, huh? Guess he's got to follow along. Kierhofer was probably taking notes when Nami made up the fictional challenge. Kierhofer's the guy who does all the Survivor challenges. Tevin is attached to everyone. Is he a tick? Oh, that's good. I like that. After Survivor, Venus should go for CBS Synergy by appearing on Ghosts. Okay. We learned it's okay to cry on Survivor, just don't cry over the fire. Is it me or the producers daring the Beware folks to throw a challenge? Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that. That does seem to be a possibility, doesn't it? Just like Tiffany, she wasn't that heartbroken that they lost that first one, was she? Jess discovered that ant breath is an effective bully repellent. Okay. The idol spends so much time at Nami that they gave it its own buff. Jess needs to think about what she thinks. She learned that cone? We had to look that up. We were not familiar with that word. She learned that cone from the Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra.
Oh, that's good. I like that part. Charlie's social game looks like Dr. Jane Goodall observing chimps. Yeah, it did, didn't it? It's definitely calling back to Drew and his anthropological observations last season. Liz had 300 interviews in 2 years. She walked 5 miles uphill in the snow to each one, both ways. I'm a big fan of the band Fish, but I couldn't name 100 of their songs on demand. Yeah, I couldn't name 100 songs at all. Liz says everybody wants to be with Liz. I don't. Me neither. Venus feels like a statue. At least her arms are still attached. Chekhov's knife? Did Jeff spoil his approach to the upcoming rice negotiations? Venus is so thin, when they ran her over, they didn't even feel the bump. I went back and watched that. I couldn't see her. Maybe it's just not in the clip, but where she told Soda it happened, I didn't see her react in any way before, during, or after her getting sort of pinned in there when the cart came by. I think she made that up for sympathy. Jeff said he wanted to be meaner. Looks like that rubbed off on some of the players. Did anyone else notice the sad violins when Yanu returned to camp after the challenge? I do recall that the music was dramatic, yeah. Was there a time limit for the challenge? Did the producers have a tiebreaker set up? Venus should make a fake challenge win idol and let Soda grab that one. Yeah, that's crazy how she was grabbing that, huh? Did Yanu come up short in the challenge because they voted off their tallest player? Probably. Q learned Chinese from Rush Hour. Tonight, I learned that Yanu means bully in Fijian. What's with all this bully talk? I am not getting that at all. The villain, bullying, any of that didn't register for me. Venus and Randon think that 2 players with 1 vote and an idol IOU trumps 4 votes. That's Culpepper math. Yeah, they're not quite there yet, are they? Tevin shot the Hawaiian sling into the dirt. Was he aiming for a land shark? Yanu planting the idol for Jess felt like the coyote placing traps for the roadrunner. Q is good at being shady. I don't think I want to buy property from him. Yanu is a remedial clown school run by dinguses. Sign me up. Banu's verbal antics don't align with his Be Kind t-shirt. No, they don't. What happens to Randon's vote if he swaps tribes before finding his idol?
Yeah.
He'll get it back, I think, at the merge, but he won't have it until then. Because that came up in 44. No, that came up last season. Yeah, that's when it was. Because when the whole Bruce thing, when he got his, and it was like right at the last minute. Episode 2 felt like being on a 2-hour tour, but without Gilligan. I don't know, they had some Gilligans on Yanu. Tiffany blamed Jess for dropping blocks. Didn't she drop her share too? Yeah, but that's just because...
They all did.
Yeah, it was because Jess did something, though. It wasn't Tiffany's fault. In New Survivor, we have a trend of hot mess tribes. Are producers casting this way on purpose? I've been wondering that, too, because there's a distinct pattern, isn't there? They've somehow managed to load an incompetency into a tribe.
The tribes, yeah.
Yeah, if they're as good as they say they are with all the psychological analysis they do while they're casting, then they've got to have some idea that this potential
exists. These people will implode.
Yeah. Banu showed a lack of persistence when he grabbed his stuff after getting one vote. Nice. Good job working that in. Did software engineer Jess replace herself with a chat bot and an android body? It could have been. That could have been ChatGPT right there. Next, there's a boat, and Kenzie's a mermaid dragon. Will she sing to the boat or flame it? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, everybody. It's Jeremiah here with some feedback for our episode 2 of season 46. But as you guys mentioned, with these very long episodes, I feel like we've seen a lot more Survivor than 2 episodes. I definitely like the 2 hours, of course, but I can understand fans who aren't really thrilled about the idea. And I will admit, 90 minutes probably is the sweet spot. But I do enjoy the fact that we know so much about what's going on, and I could definitely get used to it. Thought it was interesting that you all had mentioned the fact that there was a lot of crying going on in this episode. That is something I had a reaction to. I haven't mentioned this before, but it is definitely something I've clocked and noticed since the new era has begun. I mean, these players have not been out there very long to already be really falling apart, it seems like. Don't get me wrong, I know it doesn't take long with no sleep and no food to affect you, but we didn't see a lot of that in the early days of Survivor. So the question is, what is that change? Where did that come from? My first thought was maybe it was a generational thing. Then I was thinking it's probably a casting thing, or it's just the way the editors love to tell these more emotional stories. But after thinking about it, it's probably all the above. I do believe every generation, of course, is very different in how they treat life. I also think that Survivor is really a big fan of casting people who are more in touch with their emotions. And I also feel like they love telling those stories. Remember, Jeff wanted to be a talk show host. So This is the kind of stories I think he prefers to tell more often than anything else. There was a time in my life that this would probably annoy me, but not as much anymore. A lot of times you can get players who are more in tune with their emotions, like a Banu, can give you very interesting television, that is for sure. But then in the case of someone like Jess who went home this week, you do have to be very concerned and worried. She's someone who basically, from what I understand from her exit interviews, was about ready to quit. And considering we had 2 quitters last season, and now we have someone basically saying they wanted out of there, makes me think that they really should be careful about how they're casting people.
Yeah.
Being in tune with your emotions is fine, but you also have to be very mentally strong to win the game of Survivor. So after these 4 hours, I think we can comfortably say, of course, Tevin and Hunter on their tribe seems to be doing very well. And Maria and Charlie, I didn't talk about Charlie last week, but he is looking really good. And then, of course, you have Tiffany, Q, and Kenzie, although Tiffany seems to be the best position in that tribe. Will one of these people win? Maybe. As for next time on Survivor, obviously Venus or Brandyn could be in trouble there, especially Venus. Banu is clearly in trouble, or is it Kenzie? Although I really don't think Tiffany is going to want Kenzie to go. If Siga went to Tribal Council, I have no idea what happened there. But for right now, I think I'm probably going to go with, I'm going to say Venus will be our person to go home next week. And that's it for me. You all take care. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
You know, I think it's interesting what Jeremiah was talking about with a lot more crying and people expressing their emotions, which you didn't used to see. But I think one of the biggest reasons being the cast is so much younger. Mm-hmm. I mean, the oldest person's what, 48 or something like that. These are 40s and younger. I mean, we had people in their 70s out there, and the older generations were taught not to cry. Don't show your emotions. It's not okay. Which wasn't necessarily good, and that was difficult. But I think that might be part of the reason is those people were schooled like, nope, you can't cry. Don't do it. People will see you as weak, or you'll feel badly about yourself. But I think that might have something to do with it, just the age of the cast.
Might be onto something for sure. I think, like he was saying, they are not striking the right balance though in finding
casting.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe they're good with that. Maybe they think quitters are good TV moments, just a different type of TV moment. I don't know, but I think they're failing. I really want to see people with a hunger and who come ready to play, and we're seeing an abundance of incompetent players all the way to the strings of quitters that have been prevalent in
and
the 40s.
People that know the game and truly have some real or realistic idea of what they're going to be facing in the game.
Right.
Because I don't think everybody does.
No. With the standard 60-minute episodes, you get this really heavily processed version of what it is, whereas you get a much better sense of what really happens with the 2-hour episodes, which are barely scratching the surface of what it's like to be able to be out there and actually endure.
Right.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jeremiah. Good talking points. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. And what a great second episode we were treated to. Poor Yanu goes to tribal council again. Could they be the new Matt Singh? They have purple buffs after all. And speaking of Matt Singh, Charlie and Maria are a modern-day Malcolm and Denise. Are they, though? I guess we'll have to keep watching and wait and see. Back on Yanu, I thought initially that the whole fake idol search thing that they were doing with Jess was so unnecessary. But then I thought if it keeps Banu feeling extremely safe so that he won't spill his guts or panic, I guess it's all right. But then, of course, as the episode went on, I came to realize that absolutely nothing will make Banu feel safe out there. Right. Kenzie and Tiffany comparing their tribe to remedial clown school was so funny. Over on the Nami tribe, everyone seems to be getting along well, but it's kind of like high school on that tribe. Tevin and Venus are at odds, so Tevin has drawn a line, and no one is able to cross it and sit with Venus at the lunch table. I don't like it when Survivor tribes start looking like high school. That's not adulthood, and that bothers me. I think that you can kind of isolate someone in a more adult way than that. It's so sad watching the isolated person struggle. Over on the Siga tribe, everyone is also getting along pretty well. I like the Charlie and Maria alliance. I liked the 100-song war. It reminded me of my husband and his encyclopedia-like knowledge of music. That game is absolutely 100% something that he would do out there. So Brandyn found the Beware advantage, and he claims that he came out here to take risks, so of course he's going to open it. But I would like to pose a question to the group. Brandyn says he didn't come on Survivor to not take risks. The default is that opening the Beware advantage is the risk and you must take it. Does anyone believe that in some situations the risk that actually must be taken ever is to leave the Beware advantage clue where it is and to let someone else find it? You know, perhaps leave it for maybe someone who is low on the totem pole to find, and therefore they lose their vote and they're easier to vote out when you lose an immunity challenge. I don't know, it's just something I was thinking about. And I wanted to finish up with some comments on that hot mess of a tribal council. Despite what Banu says, he is not reliable or trustworthy or disciplined. He is way too honest in that he can't keep his mouth shut. Okay, he's hardworking, but that is only one thing out of the 5 that is actually, in fact, true. It was like being in the Twilight Zone watching him throw his whole tribe under the bus. I can't remember another player who is like Banu who cannot. I have no words for what I saw at the Tribal Council. I hardly ever go back and watch episodes twice or things twice, but I stopped right there and I rewound it to watch it again. It was just such a spectacular flame out. Anyway, I enjoyed this episode so much, and I'm looking forward to episode 3. That's it for me. Till next week.
Oh, that should have been the title of the episode. A spectacular flame out.
Yeah. That totally wipes what I was going to comment. I was going to comment on something Jen said. Now I don't know what it was. Dang.
She finished too strong, knocked it clean out of your head.
I guess so.
Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here with feedback on another great episode that really helped to show me who we're dealing with this season. Again, we still have some players whose characters haven't been as developed yet, but I do have a general feel for them at this point as well. Ben. Yeah, watching him make fire was pretty awesome and made me respect him all the more. He's been kind of on the fence with me, but this move definitely helped increase his stock in my book. You know, I told myself that I'd keep track of people who made fire this season, but I already forget who made it in the first episode. Was it Soda? Well, I have good intentions anyway. So let's talk about Venus. We've now seen numerous scenes where she's pretty much refused to interact with her tribe. This week we saw her reacting badly and walking away with a stink face firmly in place just because everyone else was getting along. Come on, princess, sit down, join in. We've watched other self-proclaimed introverts on the other tribes make an effort, so why won't you? And that entire toe issue was just a bad way of trying to gain attention. I dread the day that she breaks a nail or even worse, cuts herself. And as for Soda trying to soften things up between Tevin and Venus, well, yeah, Soda wants a princess shield, and I think Soda gets what she wants, so there's that. And then we have Liz, who to me is another walking disaster. Is she trying to form an alliance with her money or something? Because she's using it to push away everyone else on that tribe. So, yeah, enjoy her while you can, because she won't be here long. However, in my opinion, the worst decision of the episode goes to Brandyn, who was already on the outs with his tribe, and then decides to become friends with and even form an alliance with Princess May. I just can't see this working out well for him. And why he told her about the Beware advantage is beyond me. Just talk to her. That was all he needed to do to win her over. Yeah. But now that she knows about a possible immunity idol, she'll be scheming to take that advantage from him quicker than she can paint her nails. So, tribe-wise, we have Yanu and poor Jess. You can't tell me that she didn't know that idol was fake, and the fact that she still didn't play her shot in the dark just makes it all the more clear to me that she wanted out. Yeah, she handled her vote out well. She wasn't upset at all, but come on, girl, you were practically happy about it. Well, maybe relieved would be a better word. But I will say that I wasn't sure there for a minute if it wasn't Banu that was going instead. Yeah, he wasn't exactly gelling with his tribe this week either. In fact, I'm almost as certain that Banu was going home next week as I was sure that Jess was leaving this week. Banu is a loose cannon, and I hate when people who are totally out of control claim that they're passionate. No, you're just unhinged. And when Q took control of the challenge and was trying to explain to Banu what needed to be done, well, I didn't see him handle instructions any better than Jess did. Which leads me to wonder, who will Banu try to bully next now that Jess is gone? I'm pretty sure that won't work out for him in the end, though. So, yeah, I'm going to say that Banu goes next, and I do feel that it's entirely possible that Yanu will finally win the challenge, but I think that Banu will hold them back just enough to lose. So, there you have it. Everyone take care. I'll catch you again next week. Bye.
Wouldn't it be something if Banu goes to throw the sandbag and somehow finds a way to knock all the ones they've already got up there down? And that's how they lose? That would just be chef's kiss. That would just be perfect for him. Oh.
You're evil.
Well, not evil. I just find his hijinks entertaining.
Did you pre-planning hijinks for him?
Yes. Yeah. Can see his demise in extreme detail. Possibly. They're down to 4, and if you look at that challenge, that water challenge that ends up on the beach and they're just tossing sandbags and trying to get them to stay up on platforms that are way up high, probably at different levels. We've seen that kind of challenge in before. I think there's a possibility Yanu does win second. Maybe not first, but maybe even first. Who knows? That would be funny. I mean, if they do, they absolutely have to put they're purple, right? That's not blue. They have to put a purple buff on the idol.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's mandatory. Hopefully they're thinking of that if that does happen. So that's possible. Who do you think? Okay, who goes from Sega if they end up losing?
I don't know. I'm worried about Jim.
You got to think that Maria and Charlie are probably okay. But yeah, if they decide to go with Ben and Tim instead of Jim and Mariah, then it could be Jim, huh?
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, you got to think that, given how little she's been featured. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah,
because
think it's possible.
They don't invest in them too much if they're on their way out. So
I don't want to count her out. I think she could be a good player, but we're just not.
Again, they haven't been tested, so we don't know.
So
yeah,
we have no clue.
Was that an extra scene?
What's that? We're not in your head, so whatever
scene?
You're talking
about. There was a scene where Jim and Mariah went to the water well with Tim and Ben. I think that was a deleted scene. I'm getting it mixed up. There was like 3 extra scenes.
Okay, we'll just go ahead
and
say what you want to say about it.
Anyway, Ben and Tim, or especially Tim, were trying to get something out of Jim and Mariah. And some strategy talk. They weren't offering anything. And then they flipped it around, and Jim was talking to Mariah and saying, yeah, they're being kind of shady. So we got to keep an eye on Tim and Ben. So it'll be interesting to see. Jim demonstrated awareness there. So that was good. She wasn't oblivious to it. She knew what was going on. But at the same time, I was hoping she had been a little more skillful to get Tim talking. He was holding back. She should have busted him for saying that nobody was talking and then him not talking and offering any details. Well, open it up, Tim.
What would you like to talk about?
Who are you thinking, and why is it?
No, just what would you like
Charlie?
To talk about?
Yeah.
Don't even give him that. It's like, you want to bring it up, you bring it up.
Well, I think she did basically flip that around. If you go back and watch that scene to that degree,
I think Brandyn could be at risk if Nami loses.
Brandyn,
yeah,
without the B.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it would have to be Liz or Venus.
So how's it going to go down?
Have this weird feeling.
So let's talk about that real quick. There's 2 paths for that. Say Nami loses and they target Brandyn. Because they lost, he gets the clue for where the key's hidden. If he doesn't find it, he's got no vote and he's gone, and Venus can basically give him up for that. She could rat him out and make him the easy one to go, I guess, in that regard.
Or she could let him vote it off, and then she could try to take it.
But if he finds it, they could flip the script on them. Assuming Brandyn and Venus. So Nami loses, Brandyn does. He pulls a Tiffany, and he does end up with the key, and he gets the hidden immunity idol, and then they could plot for.
They would go after Tevin.
Probably, yeah. Or you play it safe and you go after whoever his second is. Is it Soda? Is it Hunter?
I'd go right for Tevin, I think.
Yeah, might as well. If you're gonna make the move, you might as well.
And he's
strike.
The one she's mad at.
Oh, Venus, yeah. So she might call the shot, and Brandyn wouldn't care.
But, honey,
you got to work out who's it going to be. Who are they? They've got to figure out. Are they going to go after Brandyn? Are they coming for Brandyn, or are they coming for Venus? And then they play the idol on, for whoever that person is to save them.
Well, if the others had any inkling, they'd split the vote.
Because they've got the extra.
If they were suspicious, they would.
They would put 3
Tevin's
on one.
Got an extra vote, and they could just split the vote between Venus and Brandyn.
And then 2 on the other, and then on the revote, they would catch them. Yeah, I guess you could counter it that way.
Anyway, interesting thought.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to happen at this point, but it could.
Yeah, it certainly could. Now that they're down to that 4, I think Banu can hold it together in a challenge, and Q can get them to rally for that water challenge that ends with a beanbag toss?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll look forward to it.
Yeah. Big thanks to everybody who took the time to share your thoughts, gave us a lot to think about, a lot to talk about this week. We enjoyed especially having all those predictions. We'll be mulling those over, I'm sure, as everybody goes to make their picks this week. Also, big thanks to David, Erica, Tara for your donations. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you. That helps a lot with the operational cost.
And if you play in JSFL, remember to make your week 3 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who you think will be safe at the end of the episode. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Good show. Looking forward to the episode next week, and we'll be back on Wednesday with a recap. Have a good one.